What's up guys? Subscribe for new content and gear reviews. If you're shopping for new gear, check out the links below for my recommendations from top retailers. This is the Easy Disc Brake Bleed Kit. It works for most hydraulic disc brake bleeds on mountain bikes, road bikes. With some of the SRAM stuff that requires a special fitting, it won't work on those, but I found it to work for most of the brakes that I have. So inside you have the different syringes with these high quality screw on. You know, it's not something like I've seen some other cheap bleed kits that use just plastic or cheap plastic. These are a much higher quality syringe, so you're going to use those for your oil. It's also got the little housing for some of the brakes that have a little reservoir on top. You screw this into, fill it up with oil. Got a little plunger there. And you've got a bunch of different fittings inside. And with these, you're going to have to match them up to what kind of brakes that you're bleeding. So with that, it's just easiest to play around with them and screw those into the different calipers or the actual brake itself. So you get a bunch of those with some extra O-rings to keep the seal tight on those. You also get a torque wrench. Some of the brake calipers have a torque screw at the top to undo. Comes with the rubber bands, and that's to hook around the levers as you're bleeding. Oftentimes you need to pull down the lever just to keep the caliper locked. To open and close at the brake, you get an extra wrench there. You get some bleed blocks as well to shove into the brake so that when you're pulling the brake, it doesn't just close those pistons all the way in. These are some housing holders, so if you're trying to cut some brake housing or hydraulic housing, you can use these together to try to hold that. It's got these little cutoffs, so as you're bleeding and you've got the oil running through, this sticking in a brake or a caliper or the reservoir, you know, you can shut those off. And then we've got the instructions for Shimano, TEKTRO, Avid brakes, a bunch of different options here inside. They do also include another strap for just holding those brake handles down while you're doing the bleed. I've used some of the other fancier bleed kits, and I feel like this has done just as good a job. It does say not to mix mineral oil with the brake fluid. I have done it and haven't had any issues, just as long as you clean these out really good when you're done using them. And keeping it dry, I've had this one for a few years now, and even the seals on these syringes are still good. So it seems to last. I could recommend it as a good purchase for someone looking to do their own bike repairs.